here. So we are in California. It's 2 p.m. Sunday, and it's a Memorial Day weekend. I hope that you're going to be joining us. It's quite an unusual time for our stream, but here we are, the two of us, and we are waiting for you to come in and join our stream. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to be live. It's been a while again, like 3 weeks ago, our last stream. And let's see what we're going to have here. And it doesn't say that I'm live. Yes, I am live, and we are waiting for anyone to join. Hello, hello, hello. So I hope you're all enjoying your weekend. It's a wonderful weekend. It's a tradition in the United States. In America, it's like unofficial summer kickoff. And I know that you have lots of things to do. You have many plans on hand, and maybe you're somewhere out, maybe you are having your family over, maybe you're officially opening your swimming season. Maybe you went on vacation, but Memorial Weekend, it's a wonderful weekend when those who live in the four season time zone, they actually celebrate summer coming. And here in California, where we have a privilege of being warm all year around, but nevertheless, we welcome this weekend because it's a long weekend. Monday is off. And of course, those of us who work, it's nice to enjoy an extra day off. So if you find time to spend it with us this hour with Don Pepas and Lilian, that we are so happy to have you. And we have Jennifer. She is here, and yes, she sends sunshine for 200 joules to us. Don Pepas, did you hear? Do you see Jennifer sent us some gift? Do you know that? Are you going to wake up? Are you going to say hello? Look at you. Look at you. You're a beautiful kitty cat. Okay, so Jennifer, thank you so much for coming. You know, it's so interesting that YouTube is getting weirder and weirder on maybe on me. Maybe because I refuse to have StreamYard, and that's why I don't put this the early scheduled stuff saying that, oh, my stream is coming. If you do it on YouTube app, you, unless you go live right away, it doesn't allow you to make an announcement that you are going live. And at 11 o'clock this morning, I wanted to post and saying that here I'm going to have the stream at 2 p.m. to Pacific, and it's going to be nice. I will come on over, but then it's like I have to be at the computer, and then I deleted that, and then every time you're thinking that you got it covered, I decided to have a new microphone, and then the bass wasn't charged. So anyway, so those of you who are with me, Linda, hello. It's so nice to see you. Keep an eye on the stream, and if I go mute, just tell me, Lilian, you have no sound. Then I'll pull out the mic base and we'll go to the mic without microphone stream, because this is, see, I have a new iPad because it's, it's the story of my life, or actually it's the story of the high-tech gadgets that I had an iPad and it's still in good condition, but the battery dies. Like I barely have time. If I stream it on my iPad, I barely have time for an hour stream. And our streams sometimes go an hour and 15 minutes, an hour 20 minutes. So, and I'm always kind of paranoid whether I'm going the battery last or not on that iPad. And I prefer to stream on iPad because I see myself, I see Don Pepas, it's a better camera. And I went and I bought new iPad. And then of course you have new iPad, and the charging outlet in your thing. It's different, not like the one that I used to have. And of course, you have to buy an extra accessories to plug your microphone. And finally, I bought it, and and it's a little bit more sophisticated than the previous one. Apparently, because it has three different plugs, and it's larger, so the base itself has to be charged, and I didn't know that. So I charged the microphone into this green, but the base wasn't charged. So I placed it on charge like for 20 minutes. I don't know if it's going to go mute or not. Please let me know. Okay, so now you see Don Pepas, you see myself, and I'm going to move to a place where I'm going to be a little bit more comfortable because I really don't like this couch. This couch is good to lay down on it, but to sit down on, I don't like it. And then Don Pepas maybe will come and together, and we're going to have it there. So let's go to a different location. And yeah, you see, that's why I like to be mobile. I like to have these mobile devices and have the stream from. Oh, by the way, you know what? I never showed you my new appliances. Since sometimes I cook, let me demonstrate to you my new kitchen. I really love it. So this is my new refrigerator. I know people don't judge me too hard. Like, oh, what is she talking about? Yeah, I do like my new refrigerator. So I had white, everything in white. Now I decided to stay to the color stainless steel. And this is my new stove. I have an electric stove, and maybe I'll cook something eventually. And the dishwasher. And a dishwasher. So I have this new wonderful kitchen, and I have this beautiful roses also. A friend of mine gave it to me from her garden. And now, since you saw everything that I have, my new kitchen, and now we can start talking. New appliances look good, yes. And it's nice to have new things. It's really nice, I think. Oh, maybe it's not. It's consumerism. It's like, it's not that my other stuff was going to go bad, but you know, I heard the noise of refrigerator was making as if it was just really dying. And I don't know how old that refrigerator was. And because I bought this house in 2012 and now it's 2026. So 14 years for refrigerator. And I was like, do I need to act preemptively before it dies on me full of food, and then I will need to make some drastic changes, or should I just be proactive? And I decided to be proactive, and I bought. And then you go shopping. Okay, you have this refrigerator, and you go to Best Buy, and Best Buy is saying, "Oh, we have this wonderful sale today. This is the bundle. You're going to have this new stove, new dishwasher, and dishwasher was also old. The stove, actually the previous stove, I liked. It was good, but then okay, I decided that I'm going to buy all these three. The deal was good, and now you can judge me for being like a real consumer that changes stuff without actually needing it. Yeah, I don't feel good about that because you're supposed to not waste money. But how else are we going to move our economy? Our economy where it is right now with the situation and everything. So if we support our manufacturers, and then okay, why am I talking about it again? Um, I don't know. And new appliances are good, so nice. Yeah, the stove. What I love about this stove, the stove is blue inside, and when you open it, and it's so blue, and I love that color. And cooking, actually making since I do cook and I do use my appliances, it's nice to have it. And besides, I like when it makes a nice chime sounds. And the previous stove didn't talk to me like this one, and that's what it is. And I still wear this T-shirt. It's my favorite T-shirt, Don Pepas, and you can buy this T-shirt, and Don Pepas really likes it too. He's looking at me, and every time when I wear it to work under some maybe jacket, and students saying, "Oh, Don Pepas," and they saying that Don Pepas gives them pep talk. That's why they like this T-shirt, and they like the fact that Don Pepas is also a linguist and he speaks 3 languages. It's quite motivational. Because again, we are going to go back to the channel stats. Uh, I'm very close to 25,000, and I'm telling you again, this is a confession that it's not an organic growth. This is the growth through the ads. I pay for the ads, and the videos playing, and people are coming. And people are coming, and sometimes they click on the video that I promote, like cat shorts, Don Pepper's shorts, and then they come and they see all other stuff, and they say, "Oh, I came here for cat, and now you are talking about some history or some other stuff." Like, where am I? And yes, you are at the channel that is dedicated to the Russian language and to all things Russian, and also is dedicated to our pets who we dearly love. And initially, this channel was created for those people who subscribe to Puma Messi. And Puma Messi lives in Russia with its Russian parents, Sasha and Masha, and they gave me permission to use their content so I could just focus on teaching Russian using the words that most often used by them on their streams, on their channel. And to learn any language, it's much better if you use stuff that you like. So if you read the text about Puma Messi that is waiting for his beloved Sasha, and you're interested in the content because, oh, my dad is home, and it's easier to learn the phrase "Papa Doma," that dad's at home, dad's came home, rather than just unrelated father came home. And that's how I initially thought that the content is going to be. And then Don Pepas came into picture saying, "Hey, I also can teach Russian." And then the cultural stuff of Russian culture was coming in, and this kind of the channel channel split into many facets, and this multifaceted thing right now, and it's not that active as it's supposed to be to maintain the audience, but we do the best we can with Don Peppers. We post some shorts with new words, and I'm still thinking whether I should continue with the long format or not. But by any means, by all chance, by every odds that you were brought to this channel, I welcome you all, and Don Peppers also welcomes you all. And we hope that you'll find lots of material, lots of videos to look, to watch, and that you will become part of our big family. That the people who are from the beginning here, we are like a good family, good family. And who do we have here? I have 4 people watching the stream. What I wanted to talk about today, I see no particular thought in mind, but first of all, you see that on my table I have this stuff that Don Pepas has his food. And what's going on? I have this ant invasion, and I want to ask your advice. What do you guys do when you have ants? because this year they're kind of different. Those ants are totally different. They are not like regular black ants. They are minute ants. They kind of little tiny obnoxious things, and they're everywhere. And I know that you have to kill them at the entrance where the entry stream is, where they come in at the base with the they don't like lemon scent, they don't like orange peels, they don't like vinegar and everything. And I was doing that, but they then changed the strategy that they go from another area in my kitchen and then they walk over there. So I keep moving Don Peppa's food, and Don Peppa's keeps finding it. Thank God that because they're smart, he does find his food. But maybe someone knows what to do with the ants because they're just so awful. And yeah, they don't like cinnamon. Okay, cinnamon is the thing that I don't have. Or maybe I do. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Because you see, Don Pepas is here, and I can't use this kind of stuff that definitely kills everything and everybody. Because Don Pepas is saying, "Hey, we have to have things that are don't killing us, pets and humans." And that's why the food is here. Don't pay attention and don't ask why it's here. That's why it's here. And this is the nuisance that really kind of, and see, normally, well, sometimes they come when it's raining outside, and you understand, like, okay, you don't want to be wet, and it's nice for you to maybe hang out here a little bit and wait until it's getting drier, and then you'll go outside, you spend time. Pepachka, what do you want? Okay, he wants to go to that place where we have new polka. Okay, that's where you want to go. You sure? Well, say again. Say again. Say, meow. Okay, okay, here. Okay, I'm going to take this. See, I started doing some exercises again. It means that I'm feeling a little bit better. I brought my workout equipment. And speaking of which, okay, where do you want to go? That's his new favorite place. What's wrong with your eye? Don't Pepas. What's wrong with your eye? Why can't you open your eye? Why can't you open your eye? Ну-ка. Excuse me, guys, I'm going to check. Пепочка, что случилось? Подожди, подожди. Подожди. Ну-ка, что случилось? Just wanted to check your eye. Because you just keep closing it. Everything okay? No, it's not okay. Peppa, what's going on? Ну-ка, посмотри на меня. Пепочка, посмотри на меня, посмотри на меня. Посмотри на меня, посмотри, посмотри. И мой зайчик Любочкина. Моя такая коза. Маму съем. Да, конечно, сейчас съем маму. Маму скусаю. Вот так вот. That's how. No, I think it's okay. He just slept on that side. And that's why it's not completely open. And that's how he yells, that's how he cries. Yes, and I still love him, and I wouldn't. So that's his character, and that's how we are with him. And I'm telling you that he definitely won in any kind of, but so everything. Now, when we are one on one, this is kind of normal behavior. First of all, I violated his space. I wanted to take a look in his eye, and he said, "No, it's my private place. You don't have to reach there." And that's why, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. How about that? That's the interaction, but that's how loud he is when he yells. Yes. Okay, and yeah, he probably heard or something. He was just sleeping and said, "Yepachka, how are you?" Now he's okay. He's either okay, and now he's on his new post because we have those ground squirrels. They come again over there, and they having a blast with new roses and everything. And so yes, he has this wonderful stuff, and and those squirrels come all the time again. I don't know because this year finally they allowed the you came to say, "Mommy, I'm sorry." Good kitty, good kitty. This I can't kill. I'm all over the place. So this year the squirrels let my roses grow, and I was so surprised that actually it was nice. I had my roses, and but now they are back into the garden, and right now I see which it's over there, and then Pepas is having blast. Last week, however, we had another. Okay, you come here, Pepas, иди. Да, конечно. Okay. What's there? Last last weekend on Saturday, I was standing in the kitchen, and all of a sudden I hear that huge hit into the side wall right here, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And then Peppa starts yelling by the open door, and I'm looking out, and I have a hawk in the middle of my yard standing there, and I'm shaking his head, and I didn't know what's going on. Then he took off, flew and sat on the wire, and the wire wasn't supporting his weight. He was like shaking, and then he took a couple of other flights across my little backyard. And then I look to my left on the porch over there. There is a little bird. uh, I thought it was dead because it was on its back, but technically it was moving little legs, and I'm like, oh gosh, I understand now what happened. So probably that hawk was hunting this little bird, and it dove under that bird, and since the speed was so high he didn't maneuver well. They both hit the wall. The hawk survived and went down, but the bird was knocked unconscious, and the hawk actually shook off his blow, and he decided to take off. He was quite watching that bird, but the bird, when actually I didn't know what to do, like, what am I going to do with that bird? I don't want to I don't want to have any dead animals in my backyard. We all remember how that vulture turkey vulture came to my yard after the dead rat. So anyway, the next thing I'm looking to my left on that porch, the bird gained consciousness and flew away. But I know that I live kind of in the wilderness, but not wilderness. It's 10 miles away from Watsonville. I mean, from Monterey, and in the middle of kind of, I don't know, the Toro Park is across the street. But all this wildlife that I have, the crying of mountain lions, the bobcats, the those coyotes, and numerous quails and turkeys. The other day, I'm looking outside and I'm thinking, like, I have such a tall neighbor. I haven't seen him in a while. And then I look closer, and the turkey is just sitting on the fence. And here I am. I'm turkey, and you see, I could even jump on the fence. It's nice to live in the wildlife. So talking about, I told when I was talking about the sports um, things, that's the sports instruments that you're working out. It's so interesting. You see that I look quite differently because well, because of everything what happened to me, the thyroid and my Hashimoto's and Graves, and they just on my channel, my other channel that I never say, what I had. I had my fourth channel that I don't talk about much, but it was about me losing weight and working out and fasting. The name of the channel was Fit Fasts, and I was showing how to do the alternate day fasting, when you eat one day, when you don't. And I was showing my progress, my um, looks and everything. That was vanity channel for me, and that's why I didn't want to interfere that healthy dieting channel with all my other channels. And that channel I'm telling you now, Fit Fast, I decided to post my full story of my health. And 2 weeks ago, I published my just uncut story, what had happened to me and why I stopped posting, updating my Fit Fast channel, because I look different, because I look differently. In 7 months, I gained 60 pounds. And I'm um, talking to people saying that, all people now talking about fasting and benefits of fasting. And I was, after growing my own stem cells and thinking that I'm going to become young again and healthy and beautiful, and chasing that, I ruined my health. So, but I'm all over the place. So if you want to hear my long story, I'll put the link under the video in the description box after the stream is over. But um, going to doctors right now, I kind of found this tendency that the doctors are saying, I mean, they believe that they have this right to talk to you from the position that you're an illiterate, dumb person and you don't know anything. And they throw words to you, into you, saying that you're beast, that you're lazy, that you don't want to work out, and that's your reason for being the way you are. And I find it quite offensive, because especially without knowing the situation, like they said, well, you have to do 10,000 steps. Well, I do 10,000 steps unless I can't, because sometimes I don't have strength to do that. And that person said, why can't you? Well, you know that I have this problem, that the situation with my thyroid, that actually doesn't generate enough energy for me to do that. Oh, really? How come? And so um, but I do things if I feel that I can. So that's why I have my all these hula hoops, and I pulled out my free weights, and I'm going to do it when I can. I started doing my push-ups again when I can, and I hope that I gave myself permission to feel healthy, and because now the numbers of my tests look good, and okay, so probably it's time to stop. Um, I mean, to nurse myself back to health to the best of my ability. So that's why that was a long story. Why I had the hula hoop, and why Don Pepas had an obstacle to jump to his favorite shelf. So the other thing is, and yeah, and that the healthcare professionals, they say things thinking that all the same, like, oh, the America is so uneducated, they eat junk, they eat junk food. And hey, it's not my case. I don't eat junk food. I don't drink energy drinks. I don't do sugars. I don't do anything. I mean, that's why I was like, why me, and why that happened. So that's enough about the story about health. And but I wanted to report to you that finally I gave myself permission to be healthy. I even walked to my pool yesterday and see if I will can bring myself up to put on the bathing suit and go jump into the pool. Eric is here. Bom dia, bom dia. How is everyone? Como se va? And how is everyone? Como están? And I have Marie Rico. Hello, Mashenka. a sunshine state. Yes, we actually had our gloom today. In the morning, only now the sun's coming out, and that's what I it's nice weather right now. The sun is out, but it's still 64 degrees, and it's very comfortable, I believe. Not so nice to go to the pool, but it's still very, very nice. Yes, Jennifer, it's very unprofessional. It is very unprofessional. And also, the other thing is that when the professionals who know your situation, they say, oh, now the numbers look good, I can't understand why your body is not losing all that weight. Well, because the cells don't act healthy, because the water fluid retention is different, because the energy exchange is different. That's why. And then they start pushing all those GLP products like Manjaro, Vigovia, Ozempic, and like, you know, I'm not there yet, and I don't know. I may I don't know. I don't want to talk about it so far. I read stuff since I am health oriented and healthy food and everything. I'm very skeptical about any type of pharma, any type of pharmaceutical stuff, and I will do how I feel and naturally, only when I exhaust all my natural abilities of my body and my willpower and everything, maybe then I will do something. But the doctors who are saying that that's only remedy remains, I also don't know what to think about it. So this is our help. I haven't seen the sun in a few days. I'm hoping tomorrow is a sunshine. Well, yeah, May gray. Yes, yes, Linda, May gray. But you see, we have sun at least for a couple of hours, but the Monterey, they don't have sun. And it's been very windy lately, very, very windy. Last Saturday, I didn't even go to the market because the wind gust was so horrible. And I have one stretch in the fields and the car is shaking. And I'm like, no, I'm not driving that stretch of the road because I don't want, well, I know probably nothing would blow me away or turn the car over, but I don't know. It's not comfortable when you hold in your wheelchair, gosh, steering wheel, and you don't feel the car in control of your car. Okay, so this is the health stuff. Now let's go back again. Those who are here, the new subscribers, and you eventually watch this stream. Yeah, we are talking about stuff that interests me and my subscribers and my family, big family of my subscribers. We sometimes cook on this channel. We sometimes talk all things that happen to me. We share life with each other, and some people email me, and it's just that stuff. But sometimes we talk Russian language, and I'm telling you that the most subscribers I'm getting when I promote the video, when I had it with my Matryoshka doll. Uh, if you remember when I had my Matryoshka doll, 25 huge, I mean the big doll like this one, and I was reading some fairy tale by Alexander Pushkin, and that is kind of my trailer, opening trailer for the channel. That's saying that's how the Russian culture related to the channel itself. And now, what I want to talk about literature. And the literature, not like modern literature, but the literature that actually formed the tastes and attitudes and the morals of the human society. And the majority of that literature, I personally believe, it's in the 19th century when we had writers that were very influential, and the society was looking at them as the beacons of truth, beacons of the character and how to behave, because they were describing all kind of people, but honestly, the outcome of every novel back then in the 19th century was the good was battling the evil, and the evil was defeated. It's like nice fairy tales. Through all the struggle, the main character goes through all the conflicts, the main character prevails, and the truth comes out and reigns, and the good things come, and like fairy tale, and they had lived happily ever after. And then Pepas is looking at those squirrels because they completely lost uh, lost fear. Look, look, look. Okay, then Pepas is watching. He's just really watching. Pepachka, you guarding us. And why did I decide to talk about this literature? Well, first of all, because one of our subscribers, Lori, she she's reading a novel that is very popular Russian novel, Master and Margarita, and she's saying that it's quite difficult to understand that. And she actually started watching the 10 episode movie that was filmed based on this novel, and that movie was made in 2010 or 2011. And that movie was even more difficult to make because it showed the characters quite characteristic characters, I would say, so unbuttery butter. The it's it ideally is the novel about the Antichrist, the dark ruler, the Antichrist visits Moscow in 1930s with his companions, and those companions are Black Cat, Behemoth, and another guy, Koroyev, and they are just lots of magic, lots of conversions, and they interfere with the young Soviet society in 1930s. And see, I was talking about the 19th century literature, uh, and the Russian literature. I believe that if we all talk about classical literature, played a, one of the main roles in the cultural, let's say, cultural DNA of humanity, because the British classical literature, the French classical literature, all those, they were kind of interwoven into cultural pattern that the human beings were evolving and reading. And that's why, well, I'm not talking about Voltaire, I'm talking about the literature, serious literature like Dickens. We're talking about I don't know, the Victor Hugo, and then I'm talking about, of course, Dostoevsky and Leo Tolstoy. And Dostoevsky is still probably one of those people who described every passion of the human soul, starting from the very, very finest attempts to understand and describe humanity to the very, very, very dark corners of the soul, the same thing. So it showed that the person could be crystal clean and have these beautiful thoughts, and the other person could be so evil and wanting such bad things, that and those sides of the human beings, they always clash, and who is going to win and how it's going to be, and what's happening actually. And again, 19th century was showing the evolution of all those bad characters, and somehow they were always defeated, and the good things were taking place, and the good things, the things were I mean, the society was surviving and moving forward based on the good stuff of the human souls and nice desires for peace, love, family, and everything. And that's in my mind. That's my thesis. This is what I stand for, because I believe that we all have to, as a humankind, in order to survive, the good things should prevail. And going back to this novel that my subscriber Lori, she is reading and trying to watch the movie Master and Margarita. It was written by Mikhail Bulgakov, and actually I placed a video a long time ago. I do have a playlist like Messi's book club or something like that, because Masha and Sasha, they went to a theater a couple of years ago. One of the Moscow theaters came to Penza, and they brought that show Master and Margarita, and they went to watch that. And in Russia, everyone knows that novel, the Master and Margarita novel, and that author, Mikhail Bulgakov, he is very, very popular, and that novel is very popular as well. There is another novel that became very famous by the same author, but became very famous because of the movie, The Heart of a Dog, Собачье сердце, was very popular because the movie turned out to be very good, and it became like meme foundation for the time when the Soviet Union was falling apart, and because the dog was converted to a human being, and Bulgakov gave the features to that human being of the very negative person. And so, and the novel turned out to be the anthem to the illiterate, uneducated power that came to power in the Soviet Union. And and people, when in 1991 the Soviet Union fell apart, they were thinking like, oh, that's what the main character was Schwonder, and they were saying attributively to the entire society, like, oh, this is the society of the Schwonders, and that's why it had to go away, and the new Russia would be built on these things. And actually, the old post-Soviet republics, they also knew that character and knew that novel, and they were kind of very negative. And where I'm leading to, that the Master and Margarita is a very difficult novel to understand, to comprehend, and by no means it has to be kind of classified as a study book of the society, because we do know that majority of the classic established literature you can study. I mean, historians study those novels for the artifacts of the time. That you, if you read Charles Dickens and Victor Hugo, you can just imagine the British society and French society, and you can also see the society of Russia from Dostoevsky and Leo Tolstoy. And Leo Tolstoy was writing mostly about high society because he was a count after all, and that's why he was writing. And that's why it's nice to read that, because yeah, of course, the War and Peace, the main character is Natasha and her family, the counts Rostovs, and the life where they go in the life of the high society before the Napoleon invasion of Russia in 1812. And but I'm kind of going from place to place. But if you go in, and and that's why they were given morals and everything, saying that's how you are. but no one was talking about the serfdom of the peasants, because after 1812, when the people actually helped to fight that war and they were victorious, and people were hoping that they would get to the proclamation of emancipation, that the serfs would be freed in 1814 when the war was over, but it didn't happen, and the freedom of serfs happened only in 1861. But again, still the what's good and what bad was shown clearly in those novels. When we are talking about that 1930s Mikhail Bulgakov's the Master and Margarita, he actually writing two novels in parallel in this one. He's showing the times when Jesus came to Jerusalem a week before him being crucified. Yes, Don Pepas. Yes, yes. Yeah, I know that those bastards, they're just running out there and and okay, you're going to eat. That's good. So anyway, so the that the last earthly life, last week of the earth life of Jesus Christ, and that is the story in the novel. And then the modern timeline is Moscow of 1930s, where actually Antichrist is there, and he is visiting Moscow and he is looking at the society. So it's also Bulgakov is writing very critical charge, very critical. I don't know, the grotesque description of this society back then. And during his life, that novel wasn't popular. I mean, it was it was a novel, because he was very famous playwright, and he was writing for some theaters. And it's a known fact that Stalin went to watch the performance based that was based on his play White Guard, the White Guard, Белая гвардия. He went to watch that to the Moscow theater for a few times. That's a known fact. And he actually was patronizing Mikhail Bulgakov, and that's why he kind of could write things that he wrote. Um, so be very careful if you read that novel, because it's really kind of dubious. And when I placed a video about that novel, one of the subscribers saying, Lilian, what are you promoting? It's an Antichrist novel. And it became very, very popular in Russia again in 1980s, when already was possible. So there was a period of time when the Soviet Union didn't allow that novel, and it wasn't never mentioned. But then mid 80s, when the perestroika started and people started reading stuff that it wasn't allowed back then, of course I read it also in 1980s. And to tell you the truth, that I, the 20-year-old person who read it in 1985, I didn't understand a thing. That's why it's very difficult to read, because first of all, I was brought up in an atheistic state. I didn't know much about life of Jesus Christ. I didn't know things that Bulgakov was operating so lightly, easily, with ease with those things. So it was difficult for me to follow the fabula of the Christ life. And then of course, it's a story of love. It's everlasting love. And the two human beings meet each other, Master and Margarita, and they fall in love. But it so happens that Margarita is married to a high level official of the Soviet government, and she lives good life. They have their own apartment in Moscow, and Master is kind of, not that he is poor, but he was not wealthy. He by luck he won a lot of money. He won a lottery jackpot, and he quit his job that he didn't like, and he started writing a novel about Jesus Christ. And that's how, and then ever since he started writing that novel, the things started happening in his life. And that's how the Volan, the Messiah, the Prince of Darkness, came to Earth, to Moscow, to find this master who was writing that novel so he could settle the score, saying that you're writing about Joshua, you're writing that novel, but how do you know that it happened? How do you know? Why are you writing with such a certainty that you actually don't know much? And that's why, if you understand and also Bulgakov is describing the life of Moscow of those times. So if you give this novel to any Russian right now, young Russian, they wouldn't understand. Only because it's overhyped, only because it's like cult novel, people would read it. That's why, Lori, this is especially for you. If it's difficult for you to read, don't read, or just read the Moscow stuff over that when Master met Margarita, and this is the beautiful story, beautiful story. But how does it end? The story of two people who are madly in love. So me, 20-year-old, I was thinking like they, of course, they have get married and go somewhere. Master has money, and they could live happily ever after. But how did the author solve this problem? How did he actually? What did he bring them to an end? What end he gave them? He gave them eternal peace. He actually kills them, but it doesn't show in the thing that kills them. He makes them drink some poison, and then he takes them on those four horses of apocalypse, or somewhere they go somewhere where they find eternal peace. And that's how the story ends. And when I was 20 years old, I totally didn't understand, like, why do I want peace? Why is that? And what is that? Uh, because Margarita, why again that Antichrist person came to Moscow? Because he needed Margarita to host his ball that once every 100 years or 150, he hosts a special ball on Earth, and for that he needs to pick a woman from human beings named Margarita, and she should be beautiful, of course. And that's how he chose Master, because Master was writing this novel, and Margarita because he was suitable for the role that he designed for her. And that is the story. This is the story, and it's not that easy to understand, but yes, it's kind of a difficult novel to comprehend, and especially if you're a true believer, if you're a devoted Christian, you would be appalled to read that. And I never understood that, because again, for the first time I was reading it when I didn't know anything, and then I was reading, now I know that novel verbatim, and I read it because 1,000 times. So I had a period of time when I was going to church on regular basis, and I couldn't even hold that book in my hand, saying that this is antic. I can feel, I can sense that. But now, when I'm looking at it from the point of view of the literature, that the literature, how it is. So Yeah, it's amazing what he wrote, but what was the goal? Or was it just a story and humans read too deep into it? Or what is that? So if it's too difficult for you to read this novel, just don't, because it's not for everyone. And Lori, that was for you. This was Master and Margarita. I still love that book. I believe it's very difficult to film because of all those characters. The cat, the Behemoth, is the big black cat. How would you do that? The cat enters the restaurant, or the cat sits on the couch, and he put a mushroom, the marinated mushroom, on his fork, and put its horseradish and mustard on it. He eats it, and then he drinks what is the alcohol straight, and saying that's so cool. And I mean, you can't do anything with those characters. It's very difficult to make a movie, and very difficult to play it in the theater. And also humans attributed some mysterious qualities to this novel, saying that, well, there were few attempts to make a movie based on this novel, and some mysterious things were happening to the people who were playing Voland, the Antichrist, because well, if you're superstitious, no matter what a great actor you are, you may be thinking that you shouldn't play such a role. That's what if it's going to help, Lori, if it's going to help you, you can read this book now with all that knowledge in your head. Or if you want also to watch that movie, you can watch with that knowledge in mind. And because I know that when I posted that short video, 10-minute video a long time ago, I just said about that novel that Sasha and Masha went to a theater. What did they watch? They watched that story based on that novel. And now I'm coming back to the literature. What's happening right now in the modern society? Why don't we have writers of the caliber of those 19th century authors, or the beginning of the 20s, like John Steinbeck, Faulkner, again, all those one, Theodore Dreiser, and all those other authors? Why do we have the industry of bestsellers? Why do we and and yours truly, I tried myself in that genre, and I was writing a novel. I have a novel, and so yeah, I think that writing right now, everything is so different in our society. We are living in such fast pace that no one expects anything remain for ages, for eternity. So when James Patterson was asked, like, why do you write so many novels, and now we know that he actually loans his name to the young authors and James Patterson and so and so, and he doesn't even write, or he has outline of 10 pages and he gives it to his lab, and they continue working. And even when he was writing his novels, he was saying, hey folks, let's admit, I'm not writing War and Peace. I'm writing some entertainment. So if you go to resort, you take that book, and if the ocean wave came onto your towel and you had that book, and you don't feel sorry, you don't regret or whatever, you finish it, you can leave it in an airplane, then the next person comes and read, and I grant few hours of entertainment that you have to occupy your mind with, and that's it. So that the story that I come to, we stopped talking deep issues like the literature of the 19th century. Maybe because, again, the society wasn't that literate back then. And the few authors who wrote the stories, they were the hope of the humanity to preserve whatever the humanity had. And now, when everyone can read, write, and now with the internet and AI, everyone can express himself, or with YouTube, TikTok, Shorts, etc., and Reels, people can say anything they want. And the thoughts that being expressed by humanity becoming more and more superficial. And I am now complaining like an old lady said, in our time, but it's not even our time. I'm telling you that the 20th century is notorious about these things. That so the post-Soviet authors in Russia, I can't even name one, because they all became James Patterson type people. They write in those type of novels that you read and you forget, you read and you forget. So, and that was kind of thought-provoking stream today, that I wanted to talk to you about literature. Do you like literature? Tell me, what do you think? Let's see what I have here. So I have 8 people, and so yeah, the birds and raccoons. Of course, I do have raccoons. Raccoons I don't even count, because they are the normal. Possums and raccoons, they live here, but the wild stuff that's going here, and yeah. I haven't seen The Sun. Sounds interesting. What was the movie called? In life, you need to balance both the good and bad. I probably wouldn't understand that 20 years ago like I would today. Yeah, exactly. So we do grow, and our point of view changes, the perception of reality changes. And when I am looking at my students, they're young, 18, 19 years old, 20, very seldom. Well, seldom you have like mature 20, 25, 27 and older. Uh, but mostly they're young. And my body maybe envies health or wonderful youth and vibration that comes from those kids. And the entire life is ahead of them. But then I ask, would I want to live through trials and tribulations that I've gone through one more time? Probably not. I think that in spite of my health stuff, whatever it is, whatever life threw my way, I think I'm happy where I am. And I think that's why our experience kind of gives you settling feeling within yourself that you are where you're supposed to be. You are where you are, and whatever life is preparing for you, that's you have to take. And this is today. For some reason, I'm so wise, I can't believe it, because I was kicking and struggling to understand, like, oh my God, I'm changing, my appearance is changing. I you no longer going to be young and pretty and whatever. And and even I heard this phrase, and I was saying it aloud everywhere, saying, the thing is that it's not bad that the old age has come to your life. The bad thing is that the youth hadn't left you either. So you still think like you are young, but people looking at you, yeah, hey, you are actually old. So anyway, all this rant about literature, about morals of society, about where we are, and I think we are where we're supposed to be, and we are making the best we can do out of our current immediate situation. I had lots of interruptions today because Don Pepas was needy. My wildlife was happening outside. I told you lots of stories about wildlife, and it's time to let you go and attend your business. Tomorrow is our Memorial Day week. I mean Monday. and enjoy your day with your loved ones. And Jennifer, thank you so much for agreeing. Yes, we are where we are. Those of you who have families, and you do have families and loved ones, go hug every one of them and say how much you love them. Because yes, what that's how we heal. He's the growling, the deeper down, meow. Pepachka, what's going on? And I'm going to hug my Don Pepas in spite of him hissing and biting me. And I thank you all for coming here, for being with the channel, and all of those who are new and you're watching. Thank you so much. I welcome you all to the channel, and I'll see you next time.